Hello everyone. This is a sort of a, not necessarily a continuation, but it pertains to the last video I put out concerning, or how I had put forth the thought of how the whole is much greater than the parts that make up the whole. And that includes as far as diversity of the whole, the resiliency of the whole, and the energy or the power of the whole that is so much greater than the individual or all of the different whatever it might be, and I'll call it energies that make up the whole. And I've known for almost 20 years now, not quite 20 years, what's going on is a merger. A merger, and I'll use the same analogy, I'll just call it energies. These energies, they may be, we would consider them different, but they're basically, all energy is sort of the same. It just operates with different attributes and what have you of how it operates. But it's all kind of the same thing, but they're different when we look at the attributes. Like cold air and hot air, it's all air, but cold air is cold and hot air is hot, and then you have warm air, which is warm air. So it's all the same, but it's different because of the attributes or the influences that are going on with those energies. So there's a merger going on. Now to use color as an analogy, we could say black and white are merging, okay, those frequencies of light, white and black, if you want to describe it that way or think of it that way, are merging into a gray. Okay, white and black make gray. Well, there are many different shades of gray, as we all know. And it may not, this grayness, this merging of these, let's call it energies or frequencies, whatever, that are merging are not necessarily uniformly the same at every juncture of every existence of every pixel or plank, whatever you want to call it, okay? But what's going on generally is a merger of these energies. And we see it being acted out in our 3D existence. People with maybe higher, more sensitiveness to these different frequencies or energies, perceive a little bit differently than other people, or actually a lot differently in some cases. So what's going on? There's this merger, okay? Now, let's consider us in our 3D existence and, juncture of time that we're in presently. Let's consider that a micro, okay, a microcosm. And let's think on a macrocosm scale, okay? And macro as in universe, okay? It's a much larger than ourselves, which our universe was at one point a merger of different frequencies and energies coming together, and eventually it kind of settled down to the point that that's what, or to the state that that's what we experience now in our 3D, the human beings in our 3D existence. consider, if you will, a merger of universes. You know, you take a multiverses and you have a merging of other universes, okay? And that's on the macro scale, that's what's going on. And it's creating a lot of chaos on, you know, a lot of, it seems to be chaos, depending on your perspective and your perceptions. Chaos at one level may be order on another level. So that's what's going on in our consciousness, you know, our human consciousness, and then we have a collective of the human conscious, or consciousness, that is, you know, we're all having effect, or being affected. Let me see what the time is. Okay. I'm trying to keep this short. But we're all being affected in different ways, and depending on, you know, it's just like individuals. You know, people have different chemistry makeups and have different, you know, whatever makeups. Some people are tall, some people are short, you know, what have you. Some people have this color hair, some people have another color hair, different skin color, all that stuff. Okay, so when you take all of that, and all of that is different energies, or it's basically the same energy, but it's operating at different frequencies, and how it performs will be different from individual to individual. But if we start to move up a little bit and look at more of in a macro perspective, the planet kind of works, you know, the same regardless. You know, even though there are earth changes going on, as far as climate change and that kind of stuff, which is affected or comes from the effect of our sun, the solar system. And plus, you know, humans have piddled and fiddled with stuff that we really hadn't understood, and so we've kind of knocked that out of balance a little bit. But that's not what these major changes, that's not coming from, that's not the result, okay, from humans fiddling and piddling. That's not the major result that we are experiencing. What we are experiencing are energies, you know, you could call it on a galactic scale. We'll look beyond the galactic scale, and even though we might see or not see, you know, anything really drastically going on all over the universe, there are things going on. And this, again, this is a merger, okay, of energies, and it's a merger of multiverses, okay, on a macrocosm scale, on a very huge scale that we're not even really able to measure, or that I know of scientifically with instruments or whatever, that we're not necessarily able to measure or determine what, you know, these things going on. But I can tell you from a metaphysical sense, from a higher awareness, and I've known this for almost 20 years. Do I have proof of this? The only proof I have are my own memories and my own experiences of this information and how I found out about it. That's what's going on, okay? And as groups of people, as far as mergers, it's not only, you know, universes merging with universes, but we're at a point also, see, everything is changing for every entity, every energy that's within our universe, okay? And wherever this, or whatever this other universe that, you know, that's merging with ours, Could it be described as a dimension? Maybe so. Or several dimensions? Maybe so. But I think it's a little easier to think of as when, you have this big blob, okay, this big blob of a universe that we exist in, and then you have another blob of a universe that, there's an existence of. And when those two blobs meld together, much like galaxies that run into each other and, some get absorbed and, get assimilated or whatever, and there's a lot of chaotic action going on. However, what I want to say with this is that the more that we comprehend this and can mentally process what's going on, the more influence that we can have on the whole, on at least in our excuse me, sphere of existence. You see, all these earth changes or whatever, if we could get ourselves on the same page as human beings, as a race, it would be easier on the human being race. Okay? Now, these, like I said, these mergers are going on, and these mergers are not only with the human beings. Excuse me, there are other beings, other intelligent beings, other things that are intelligent, and this merger is happening with all of these things on every level, every, whatever you want to call it, dimension, every universe, every multiverse, whatever. But it's happening, macrocosm to microcosm. So the better that we are to understand what's going on, to accept what's going on, we're able to adjust and make needed changes, or attitude changes, or physical, different ways of doing things, or coming up with different devices to manage or to perform the tasks that we as humans need to do. But it needs to be done in a way that it's agreeable, and this is where what I was talking about, diplomacy. Okay, we need to be able to communicate with other things that we might not now quite understand or comprehend, but we need to start getting to that level of comprehension and understanding, not only for ourselves, but for other beings as well. And they're going to have to do the same. They're going to have to adapt. Okay? And this is evolution. This is evolution. Okay? And there are intelligent, whether they be energies, non-physical forms, or whether they be like manufactured entities or what have you, if they have what we consider as humans, the mental capacity, the intelligence to understand what's going on, the better we will all be, with this merger. This is what's going on. It's a merger. And I just wanted to clarify some things. I hope I did, from the last video that I put out. We're going to 14 minutes, and I'm going to cut this short. I might make another one. But give this consideration. Macrocosm and microcosm. And the whole. Okay, the whole. As the whole, all of these different entities, energies, whatever, we come together as another whole. Okay, these multiverses, these multiple universes, we're coming together as a whole, which in turn we're going to be more diverse, more resilient, and more powerful. But that won't happen it's going to be like, well, the good stuff, everything that fits together is going to fit together, and everything, will be pretty decent for everything that's existing in those pieces that fit together okay. But the other stuff is like the dross, it something, it's not existing anymore as it thought that it would. So that's why it's so important for us in our race, our species, and for other species that are cognizant, that have the intelligence, that we understand this, and we are going to be much better able with the diplomacy to be able to coexist together. And I know this people will probably think this is ridiculous, but I can honestly tell you that from my perspective, from my experience, this is what's going on. There is a merger happening. Okay? And so much of what we were brought up on, the education, the reasoning, the logic, and what have you, it doesn't apply these days. It does not apply to what the situation truly and honestly is. And then the only thing that I can say is, to start being cognizant of this stuff. Start keeping it in your mind, not get overwhelmed by it, but understand that, hey, it's going to start from our existence, where we're at right now as human beings. That has to start with us being able to live in peace with each other, more so than what we do now. Being able to cooperate with each other. Being able to cooperate with the nature of the planet, with the nature of what we coexist with already. And this is going on, and it's going to go on. And if we don't make the grade, well, I guess we'll figure it out eventually, and it might be too late. But this is what I'm saying. There's a merger going on the micro level and on the macro level. The microcosm and the macrocosm. All of it, and even more than we can imagine. It's merging together. So let's make the whole the best we can. Let's deal with it. Let's get beyond where we are now and create a sustainable environment for all of us. That's all I have to say. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. See you later.